Hey guys, it's Joe Carroll here in Nashville, Tennessee. Glad to be with you guys today. And for today's video, I want to cover something that we kind of left off on the last video. The last video called Mixing with Multiple Vocals. Um, the whole last part of the video was diving into really deep automation. And I got just tons of questions and comments and responses, on YouTube as well as my own messaging about that. It's like, okay, if that's how detailed you get on vocals, what does your band automation look like? The rhythm section. So I thought what I would do is I would take a song that I mixed, and this one I just had believe it or not, this was done in 2016. I mixed and produced this for a friend of mine that is just now getting ready to release it, and I was like, "Oh wow, I haven't heard that in so long. I better listen to it." And of course, now all these years removed, I would do some things different, but it's still great. But it's kind of in the middle dynamic wise. It's energetic, but it's happy, kind of has different intensity levels. So I kind of feel this would be a good average day automation session for me. So I thought I would bring you guys along for the ride. So let me let you hear a little bit of this song. This is my friend Jen Cove, and hopefully by the time this airs, it is actually on streaming platforms because she's a great singer songwriter. Really, she's a great person too. So here's the song.
Gonna love you like crazy, 'cause I wanna spend a lifetime learning how.
Okay, so you get the vibe. Now, what I have already done is I've left her vocal automation in, but as you can see, all the automation that I had, because by the time I'm done with the session, this is not at all what it looks like. So I've wiped it all, got rid of all the automation, except one thing that gets overlooked, I think, sometimes is automating plugins. And in there's a couple spots here where the drummer is playing on the rims. Okay, if I left my gate on that's keeping out a lot of the cymbal bleed on the snare drum, that would it would be completely cut out, right? So as you can see on the screen here, I've got the expander range turned to off at times where I want those rim shots, the rims clicking thing to come through. But other than that, my static levels are based on the volume of the choruses, something that's loud. Because I want to know where I'm hitting my stereo bus. Because sometimes I have a digital stereo bus, right? It's all plugins. It's in a completely in the box mix. Other times I have, some of these toys patched in over here. And so I want to make sure that I'm in that analog zero, sweet spot where my averages are around -18. Actually, for me, it's a couple dB over because I like to kind of hit my outboard a little above analog zero. But for people that use outboard, I think that's a big thing. At this point, what I'm going to do once I have everything, kind of in its place, I'm going to put my faders. You'll see here are in touch mode, and not my vocals because I'm not usually at this point. I don't even have the vocals on because I already know the melody. I familiarized with myself with the song, and all I want to hear is the music because I want to hear little. I call them nuggets. Just really cool little special things that I wouldn't hear if I had the vocal like at full level on top. So what I do is I actually mute the vocal right now. But you guys don't know this song. So what I'm going to do, may have already done it. Yeah, so I've pulled Jen down about 5 or 6 dB, so you'll be able to hear the melody, and that way it's making more sense to you. When you see me boosting something, you see me pulling something away, you'll know, oh, well, that's in between words, so there's room for that moment to shine. Or, she's singing at the moment, so I need to keep things down. I think that'll make a little more sense. But at this point, what we did back in the old days is we took what we called a snapshot of the analog console. And I feel like we can still do that in the box. So whether we're using outboard completely in the box, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put breakpoints in at the beginning of my instruments, and you can do this at the very beginning or up here close to close to where the waveform starts, just however you want to do it. And if, like I have taken time to clean my tracks, of course, but sometimes you get things in and there's noises and, maybe you don't have time to clean up the tracks properly. So I just do this. You see that? And that way, at any point I get out of whack, I can always return back to where I started. I'm hitting my stereo bus too hard or it's not feeling right. And I'm like, heck with this. Let's just scrap and start over. All I have to do is delete that automation. I'm right back to my starting point. So I always remember where before I was tired, before I was mad, everything felt good to me. Okay, when my ears were fresh. Okay, so you know what? With that said, let's just kind of dive in. So you'll see the beginning of the song's kind of broken down, and let's just get a feel for it. Go in real time. Okay, let's have some fun.
Here I am standing with a heart that's open wide, vulnerable.
Okay, I see right away at the beginning. Let me just highlight that. I've only had this particular fader pack. Has not been with me very long. I just switched to the SSL to see how much I liked the hands-on of the plugins, and I love it. So I've ordered another 8. It's not here yet, but ultimately I want to have 16 faders minimum to where I can really get my hands on them a lot. But everything that I'm going to do, you can do with the mouse too. You know, in fact, my method really uses a bunch of both. But I really want to feel the human element of this song. So I'm going to boost this little guitar swell here in the beginning.
Here I am standing with a heart that's open wide, vulnerable, nervous, shaking.
Okay, again, her level is low. I know, but it's just because you guys don't know the song. But I'm gonna make that pad a little swimmy around that fun banjo lick. Okay, so let's get that pad over here to where I can get my hands on it. And I'm gonna start with the pad a little hot. So I'm gonna give myself just a little runway.
Here I am standing with a heart that's open wide, vulnerable, nervous, shaking. Will you love me? Say you love me. I've been around a half a block a time or two, not the most experienced in love, but I know this. Yes, I know. Oh, oh, that
Okay, cool. The intro, first verse is starting to sound pretty good. I think there was a couple of those vibe licks that needed to come up. Let's address those.
Here I am standing with a heart that's open wide.
All right, let's run up here and check these hits.
Say you love me. I've been around a
Okay, the second one kind of gets masked by that guitar right here. So let's turn that guitar, the right side guitar down.
I've been around a half a block a time or two, not the most experienced in love, but I know this. Yes, I know.
Okay, now you'll notice right here, right there. Did you hear that cool little thing on the electric guitar? If I had her vocal blaring, I may not hear it, but I heard it now. So let's see. Let's dial that track up and let's get some human hands on it here.
Time or two, not the most experienced in love, but I know this.
Okay, so what I want to do is undo that and do it one more time. I want to return to on the guitar strike, I want to return to the previous level. So I'll get my hands off of it quicker. Do it one more time.
Time or two, not the most experienced in love, but I know this. Yes, I know.
And you're like, man, that is a lot of work for that little bitty thing. It's worth it. Listen, it's subtle, but that's part of the emotion of the track. There's hidden nuggets all over the songs if we'll take time to dig them out. So let's listen to the transition into the chorus.
I know. Oh, oh, that I want to spend a lifetime learning how to play.
Okay, I got a feeling like I want to turn the banjo down a little bit for the entire chorus. So rather than get my hands on the faders, that is just a real easy trim right here like this.
I know. Oh, oh,
Okay, now what I'm going to focus on now, the bells. There's this little kind of, it adds to the whimsical charm part of the track. Yes, I use the word whimsical in a in a tutorial, but hey, why not, you know? So what I'm going to do, knowing where these whimsical bells are at now along I'm gonna listen to where they fall against her lyric, and I'm gonna kinda come up and down to get them to, because we want them to be heard. They're a big part of the track.
Oh, once spent a lifetime,
Okay, that last note right there.
once spent a lifetime learning how to love.
That middle note in that little three-note phrase kinda falls away. First half of that needs to be a little louder. Okay, this is another place where we can go back to the mouse real easily. Let's turn our drum group master on, and this is gonna be easier done with a mouse. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring it down a little bit, just a little bit, the overall drum kit, up until that fill that goes into the next chorus. But for this, I wanna drop the intensity a little bit. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the bass, but I think I've got a distortion track on the bass, separate from the, the body, we'll call it, of the bass, so I'm gonna turn that down a couple dB, and let's just see how that feels. Okay, there's a couple guitars that are really carrying a lot of emotion, a lot of movement around her vocal. Movement is our friend in music, especially music like this. Static, bad. Movement, good. All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to do a couple passes. That pad that we in verse one was a big deal. That's such an emotional glue to the song. I want to invest just a moment of time into that. Let's bring that guy up here. Now let's get to those guitars. Those guitars are carrying some important weight. Look at that boom, ba-dum. That's very important. It's between her words. It's melodically interesting. The listener really needs to hear that and feel that. That lick is combining with some other stuff in the other tracks. Let's think about that. Let's make an executive decision that guitar lick and this in the left and right track are going to come down to create space for that. Now let's check out the drums transitioning into the chorus. Let's make sure there's nothing else that needs to. The automation we did and the fact he's playing a fill maybe lift enough without us having to enhance anything. Although I am going to turn those tom. Whoops, I got my drum group on. Let's turn the tom group up just a little bit. A little too much. I got just a little carried away. All right, we're gonna turn down the banjo just a little bit because I like, and the reason I'm doing that is because we have an acoustic guitar that plays in the choruses too, and I like that lighter energy. It's a lighter attack, a lighter whatever. I like that to kind of have a little more room for that as opposed to the heavy energy of the banjo. Since we have all these electrics, we have a left and a right power chord, so just making room. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to automate the bells quite as much as I did in the other one. I know this video could easily turn into an hour-long deal, and I know you guys will get bored to tears of watching this. But let's start about halfway through it and transition into the bridge, okay? Yeah, that needs to be a lot louder right there. Okay, big deal right there. The bass is way too heavy. We really need to lower that intensity because when that drummer does this, going into the back half of the bridge, like it needs to be wham, it needs to hit you right in the mouth. And the way to have it hit you in the mouth is to soften what's right before it just a little bit. And what we're going to do is I've got my groups just easily to toggle off and on for drums and bass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the bass down. Same with the drums. There's just too much. The snare drum impacts are just a little too bold. But the toms are not. Those toms kind of need to still pop the way they were. You may have heard there's vibes going on underneath those bells, and this is their moment to shine. They're kind of serving the role of a pad in a sense, but there's room for them right here. Okay, so what we're going to do right here, this is an emotional moment of the song. Pads. I mean, very few things we can do in modern music, I think, is emotional, provides what a pad provides. So let's automate it right through here. Okay, intensity built throughout the bridge on that for the first few bars, and then all of a sudden during that bar where nothing happened, boom, let's drop it. We're creating space, and we may need to do some space in the electric guitars too. We have an extra guitar part come in there just for muscle. Let's hear. Like we need a little more of that, and so I think that also means that we need a little bit more of the other counter guy to that. Boy, that is a huge moment, but because we're coming so far down, I think I'm going to taper the drums just a little bit right there. Do I have my drum group on? Right on that downbeat. Too much. Okay, I know that's a breakdown part of the song where I've talked about turning things down, but that there's this little descending lick in the vibes that needs to be heard right there. With everything else down, that'll really pop for a second.
Here I am standing with a heart that's open wide, vulnerable, nervous, shaking. Will you love me? Say you love me. 'Cause
Okay, and for the sake of time, I'm not going to, but I would heavily automate the bells right there. So let me go halfway through the chorus. What I want to do, there's a bass lick. Yeah, let's make a big deal of that on our buzz track, our distortion track. It's not going to bring up a bunch of heavy bottom end with it. So let's make the definition of the note pop out. And it kills me, even though this is just a demonstration, it kills me that those bells are not the right volume there. I am a perfectionist, so here we go. Still not right. Okay, all right, couple little things that's going on in the very end that are very cool. You hear there's this pattern popping out barely that needs to pop more on the acoustic guitar. Let's make that a thing. Let's make that a thing. Let's turn the banjo up a little bit. Our intensity is following, but this is the very end of the song. So I really want that band just let him finish strong. And I feel like right there in the vibes, there was something going on too. So let me pull up the vibes. Yeah, let that really needs to be heard. Okay, another great thing to do with pads is when they happen right there, we can use the pad to kind of really send the writer off into the sunset, right? Wasn't quite smooth enough. Let's take another stab at that. Fast forward just a little. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time digging out nuggets that the musicians played, right? We've tried to create intensity in moments, and we pulled away from the listener in moments. We tried to get quieter and build a little bit of an emotional roller coaster here. But what we've done is great, but there's still room for more. And what I like to do is I like to go down to the stereo bus, which is going to be at Unity, of course, and I like to use the break point to create even a little bit with the mouse, even a little bit more lift if needed. If it's not needed, it's not needed. But in a song like this, it's needed. So we know verse 1, the intro in verse 1 is down, and then we come back up for the chorus is when we really hit him in the mouth. Let's listen to that transition. I want the lift to start occurring during her oh, oh, oh. And remember, she's nowhere near loud enough, but she will be. Yep. Okay, so let's come back down. Remember, when we were automating the master or the individual tracks, we took some time to lower the drums and the bass right through there to make them hit the listener a little softer. And I think we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to bring it down, ramp back up. I think there's something lyrically at the end here that transitions into the chorus. So by the time the drummer hits that downbeat, beat 1 of that bar, we wanna be back up to full level. If I remember right, the bridge drops down in intensity on the front half.
'Cause we both know I'm all kinds of cute.
Okay, because I want those doo-doo, impact moments to still hit pretty good, I'm only maybe gonna come down half dB or something.
'Cause we both know I'm all kinds of cuteness. But sometimes that comes with just a little bit of stupid.
Okay, a little bit of stupid. Let's make I mean, even a half dB is worth putting the time in to me. So let's go back up to full right there. Okay, so it looks like coming out of the bridge, we drop back down before chorus 3 really smacks.
Remember, here I am standing with a heart.
I think I'm gonna start ramping down right there.
Remember, here I am standing with a heart that's open wide, vulnerable, nervous, shaking. Will you love me? Say you love me. 'Cause
Yeah, perfect. So what I want to happen is even that drum fill. A lot of times you've noticed I've been turning that drum fill that plays into the downbeat. I've been turning it up, but on this one I don't want it to. I want it to even just a half dB or 1 dB of the down when the downbeat hits. I want it to have even just 1 more dB of impact.
me.
All right, perfect. Now what we'll do is we'll go down to the outro. I'm gonna find a spot where I can make the fade, and we'll do this real quick. Okay, usually I like to give the mastering engineer plenty, but I still wanna kinda set it up. I want him to be able to trim it, but I never want him to say, "Hey, man, your fade your fade was too short." So we're not gonna take time to listen to it, but you get the idea. Now look, so everything that we've done up here to create emotion and impact, and then we're coming at the listener, we're hitting them in the mouth. Whoa, no, we're not. We're coming back. So whatever song we're working on, whether we're trying to create anger, whether we're trying to create happy, we're trying to make somebody cry, yes, reverb levels, EQ, whether it's dark or whether it's bright, have tons of impact on that. But to me, this is the biggie. This is just this is the price of admission to get into a high level professional mixing for me. I think the hours that I put into this is probably what has gotten me a lot of jobs. It's not because my snare drum sounds better than somebody else's or my lead vocal effects are perfect. I think the listener listens, the artist, when they listen it back, when I send them a mix, are like, man, I mean, that it's hitting me in whatever way it's supposed to hit them. And the only way to achieve that for me is to put in the time in automation. So anyway, guys, thanks for all the questions last time, which inspired me to do this video in the first place. I hope this, really gives you a good look into my method. If you talk to, Mark, or you talk to Manny or Warren, they may have a slightly different method, but I bet automation is a big part of everybody's, trick bag to get out the top level quality mixes that they think they can get out the door. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I appreciate it. Happy mixing.